Welcome to the third lesson of Section 3, where we will explore the tumultuous period of the Crusades and the rise of the Ayyubid Dynasty in Palestine. This era witnessed the establishment of Crusader states and the pivotal recapture of Jerusalem by the renowned Muslim leader Saladin. Understanding this chapter of Palestine's history is crucial, as it marked a period of intense conflict and profound shifts in the control of the region. We will explore the Crusader states in Palestine, the First Crusade, and the capture of Jerusalem. The First Crusade around 1096 and 1099 was launched by Pope Urban II in response to the Seljuk Turks' growing control over Jerusalem and the Holy Land. Thousands of knights and soldiers from Western Europe set out with the aim of reclaiming Jerusalem for Christendom. After a brutal siege, the Crusaders captured Jerusalem in 1099 CE, marking a turning point in the region's history. The conquest resulted in the massacre of many Muslim and Jewish inhabitants and the establishment of Crusader states in Palestine and neighboring regions. The most significant of these was the Kingdom of Jerusalem, with other Crusader-controlled territories such as Tripoli, Antioch, and Edessa. Jerusalem became the capital of the Crusader kingdom, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was restored as a major Christian pilgrimage site. Crusader rule and governance in Palestine. The Crusaders, primarily of European origin, established a feudal system in Palestine, dividing the land among nobles and knights. They fortified key cities and constructed massive castles, such as Crac des Chevaliers and Montreal, to secure their hold over the region. Latin Christian institutions were established, replacing or modifying the existing Islamic infrastructure. Crusader rulers introduced Western laws and customs, while Christians from Europe settled in the region. The Crusader states were characterized by frequent conflicts with Muslim forces, as local Muslim rulers and populations resisted their presence. Over time, the Crusader states became reliant on military reinforcements from Europe and alliances with neighboring Muslim rulers. Coexistence and conflict between faiths. While the Crusades are often remembered for their violence, there were also periods of coexistence between Christians, Muslims, and Jews in Palestine. In cities like Acre, a major port city, trade flourished between different faith communities. Muslim and Jewish populations lived under Crusader rule, albeit with certain restrictions and taxes imposed upon them. The Knights Templar and Knights Hospitaller, two military orders established during the Crusades, played a significant role in maintaining Crusader control. They not only provided military defense but also cared for Christian pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem. However, the Crusader states faced ongoing resistance from Muslim leaders, and their hold over Palestine would eventually weaken due to internal divisions and the resurgence of Muslim power in the region. Let's explore how Saladin and the Ayyubid recaptured Jerusalem. The Rise of Saladin and the Ayyubid Dynasty. In the 12th century, a powerful Muslim leader named Saladin emerged as the unifying force behind the Muslim response to the Crusaders. Born in 1137 CE in Tikrit, Saladin rose to prominence as a military commander under the Ayyubid Dynasty, serving in Egypt and Syria. Saladin eventually established the Ayyubid Dynasty in 1171 CE after dismantling the Fatimid Caliphate in Egypt. He became the Sultan of Egypt and Syria, and his primary goal was to unite the Muslim world and recapture Jerusalem from the Crusaders. Unlike many rulers before him, Saladin sought to build alliances and strengthen his forces through diplomacy, uniting various Muslim territories under his leadership. His efforts culminated in the formation of a powerful Muslim coalition that would challenge the Crusader presence in the Holy Land. The Battle of Haton and the recapture of Jerusalem. The decisive moment came with the Battle of Haton in 1187 CE, where Saladin's forces achieved a resounding victory over the Crusaders. The battle took place near the Sea of Galilee, and the Crusader army, led by King Guy of Jerusalem, was annihilated. Following the Battle of Haton, Saladin's forces quickly moved to recapture cities and fortresses in Palestine. On October 2, 1187 CE, Saladin successfully entered Jerusalem, ending nearly 90 years of Crusader rule. Unlike the Crusaders' brutal capture of the city in 1099, Saladin's entry into Jerusalem was marked by a relatively peaceful transfer of power. He allowed Christian residents to leave the city and permitted Jews and Muslims to return, re-establishing Jerusalem as a Muslim city. Let's now see the legacy of Saladin. Saladin's recapture of Jerusalem made him a hero in the Muslim world and earned him respect even among his Christian adversaries. His chivalrous treatment of captured Crusader leaders and his mercy towards civilians contrasted sharply with the earlier brutality of the First Crusade. Saladin's legacy extended beyond his military achievements. He is remembered as a ruler who promoted justice, tolerance, and charity. Under his leadership, Jerusalem's Islamic institutions were restored, and the city once again became a center for Muslim scholarship and worship. The Ayyubid Dynasty, founded by Saladin, would continue to rule Palestine and parts of Egypt and Syria after his death in 1193 CE. However, the struggle for control of Palestine between Crusaders and Muslims would persist for decades, leading to additional crusades and shifting alliances. The legacy of the Crusades and the Ayyubid Dynasty. What was the impact of the Crusades on Palestine? The Crusades left a profound mark on Palestine, not only in terms of the destruction and bloodshed, but also through the exchange of ideas, culture, and technology between the East and West. Crusader castles, churches, and fortifications still stand as reminders of this tumultuous period in Palestine's history. The Crusades also heightened tensions between Muslims and Christians, shaping interfaith relations in the centuries that followed. The religious significance of Jerusalem remained central to both Christianity and Islam, leading to ongoing conflict over control of the city. Ayyubid contributions to culture and architecture. Under the Ayyubids, Palestine saw a revival of Islamic culture and architecture. Saladin and his successors funded the restoration of mosques, madrasas, Islamic schools, and religious endowments. The Al-Aqsa Mosque and Dome of the Rock were refurbished, and the city's infrastructure improved. Ayyubid rulers also supported scholarship and the arts, helping to reintegrate Palestine into the broader Islamic intellectual world. The region once again became a center of learning and pilgrimage. Continued struggle for control. While the Ayyubids were successful in recapturing Jerusalem, the Crusader presence in the region did not disappear entirely. Subsequent crusades attempted to regain control of Jerusalem, leading to further battles and sieges. By the mid-13th century, the Ayyubid dynasty began to decline, eventually giving way to the rise of the Mamluk Sultanate. The Mamluks would continue the struggle against the Crusaders and play a crucial role in defending Muslim territories, ultimately driving the last Crusader strongholds out of the Holy Land by 1291 CE. It's time to conclude this lesson. The Crusades and the rise of the Ayyubid dynasty represent a pivotal chapter in the history of Palestine. The establishment of Crusader states, the heroic leadership of Saladin, and the eventual recapture of Jerusalem by the Ayyubids left lasting legacies that shaped the region politically, culturally, and religiously. The conflict over Palestine during this period also deepened the religious and cultural divide between the Christian West and the Muslim East, with repercussions that can still be felt today. In the next lesson, we will explore the Mamluk period and its impact on Palestine, focusing on how they defended the region from both Crusader and Mongol threats.